So I am going to, this video is made keeping in mind our clients. So people who had their website built with us, and especially for those that were brand new to the boutique industry or to the e-commerce industry. So maybe this is your first website and it's brand new. And so now you need to drive traffic to it. Or maybe you have a storefront and you probably had the website already. We overhauled it and you're ready to really put a lot more time and energy and attention into the website to, get it viable as its own revenue source. So that it's not just your storefront, but now you also have the online sales. So I will make a more advanced video maybe next, but this is, um, you know, if you are not driving enough traffic, maybe you don't have goals set and you're just not sure where to start. So, first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to go to my website, hotmesshustle.com, and we're going to go to learn and hit the website traffic and revenue calculator. I'm going to talk you through the calculator, but really quick first, I just want to bring up here, if you hit this grab these button, I do have some printable tracker sheets. You don't have to use this. You could use anything. You could just use a spreadsheet, a notebook. But I do think that this stuff is really important to track. So this gives you the option of tracking it like bigger picture, which I would start there. And then as you go, you can kind of track weekly progress and notes and things and what's happening. So these are the metrics that you really want to focus on initially. It's not that there aren't a million other things that you could be focusing on in your business, but if you're not focusing on anything yet, start here. So your revenue is where you start with your goal. And, only you know where you're comfortable setting a goal. I think there's something to be said for setting a really big goal and then, scaling it back as needed, basically. Shoot for the moon, land among the stars kind of thing. But you also want it to be something that is at least somewhat realistic. But you also won't know, like if you're new to driving traffic, or at least you're going to be making a lot of changes. And so what you're going to be doing is new. You won't know until you get in there what's realistic and what's not, right? But we're going to start with the revenue goal, and then we're going to use that calculator. So I'll pull that back up to kind of figure out the rest of the where everything else needs to be in order to hit that revenue goal. Now, I will say that it's easier to use this calculator if you do have some data. So meaning you did already have a website active and that's your starting point. Either way, though, we're going to start with the monthly revenue goal. Now, if you are storefront and online, for right now, you can technically use this calculator for both, but they are separate and you want to keep them separate in terms of your goals and your marketing strategies. And that's something actually a lot of people get wrong from the beginning is not separating those out. So this should be for right now, just your goal of online website revenue. This is also different from social selling. So like live selling, for example, that would be a whole nother strategy and a whole different video. So we are focusing on driving website traffic, converting that into how much revenue. So let's start with, just to make things clean and simple for this example, $10,000 revenue goal. Now, these three, if you don't have 90 days worth of data, but you do have 30 days, that's fine. Use the 30 days instead. But for the traffic, just multiply that by 3 so that it's correct for if it were looking at 90 days. If you don't have any data, then what I want you to start with in the conversion rate is 1. And the average cart total, start on the low side to be safe. So start at like 50, unless your price point on your items is already significantly higher than that. Then, start at like 1 item worth. I mean, just for example, a business that sells $300 dresses, you wouldn't have an average cart total of only 50 because people would be spending at least that 300. So make it make sense, but start on the low side if you don't have any data yet. Otherwise, use your actual data. And this is a screenshot of when you are logged into your Shopify. On the left, if you hit analytics, you'll get into your overview dashboard. And here's where you can change last 90 days. Again, if you don't have a full 90 days of data, then only go back 30 days here. And then you're going to use your online store sessions, average order value, conversion rate. And that's what you're going to plug in here. And for this calculator, do make sure, like if it's 1.25, I mean, don't have the percent. That will mess things up. Oh, I saw someone put that recently. It's not letting me. But anyway, okay, so okay. So for this example, and then just to touch on conversion rate. Conversion rate is complex to some extent. I mean, what it means is simple, right? Out of how many people that visit your website each day or month or whatever we're looking at, how many actually make a purchase? So this is saying 1.25 people out of every 100 visitors make a purchase. Unfortunately, 1 to 2% is pretty standard. You over time using enough retargeting, really making sure that you're sending the right traffic to your website, you can, and then making sure that your website is optimized and easy to use, and the sizes and styles that the people that are visiting your site actually want are in stock. Like when all of that is in place, you can definitely get to 2, 3, 4% conversion. That would be really good. We do see higher every once in a while, especially if you're very, very niche. Just meaning like the people that would go to your website would probably be looking for your specific item because it's so unique. Rather than kind of window shopping, right? So there's so many variables to what is a good conversion rate, but all you can do is know where you're at and set goals. But if your website traffic is less than like 100 or 200 a day, I would focus on your traffic first before you worry too much on conversion rate. But here's something to know is that when you're driving new traffic, so whether you're a new business or again you've been in business but you're now trying new things and driving new people to your website, it is normal for your conversion rate to dip as your traffic increases. Hopefully that's just temporary, right? People need to see your stuff several times before they commit to making a purchase. So it's normal when you're sending new cold people that they're not going to convert right away. Now, the other thing is, say that you're using like paid Facebook ads to drive traffic. Well, that first 30 days or even 90 days while you are, testing different ad creatives, adjusting your targeting strategies, although that's mostly through AI at this point, but it can still take time for the algorithm to find the exact right people to send to your site. So that's another reason that when you first start something like that, it could be sending the wrong traffic initially in order to optimize and figure out who the right person to send to that website really is. So your conversion rate is never going to be like, this calculator is helpful and it's a starting point and it's a tool, okay? But it's never going to be perfect because as you adjust things in your business, your conversion rate is going to adjust as well. But it's still something worth keeping an eye on. And once you're driving enough traffic to say, okay, this conversion rate really should be higher. What can we do here specifically? But this video, I'm going to focus primarily on driving that traffic bit. because we are here to help you with your website and making sure that that's not the issue when it comes to your conversion rate. But again, it's not just your website. There are other things that come into play for, for having a low conversion rate or how to increase it basically. Okay, so you have your data, you put in your goal, you either put that starting point data or you use your own data. And now this is going to tell you how many orders that you need in order to hit your revenue goal. So in this example, we need 154 orders per month. We need 12,300 hits per month to meet our goal. And so we're only driving a third of this, which I had set this to be like 55 hits a day, which if your 55 hits is pretty solid if you're only doing organic marketing. I mean, it's not nearly high enough to reach your goals. For example, if we use this other version of the calculator and we just say average cart total 65. So at the 55 website hits per day, you would only be bringing in $1,340, which isn't really enough to stay in business considering all of the costs of running your business and continuing to bring in new products and photograph it and all of that stuff, right? So we need a ton more traffic, right? We need 10,000 more hits per month. So what I'm just going to show you is how to use ChatGPT. First of all, there's a free version. I do suggest if you're going to use it regularly to get the paid version. It's just faster. It allows you the newest features. It's, I think it's like $20 per month or so, and it is worth it. Something else, if you didn't know, this add files is also really useful. So what I would do when you're working on a new type of thing is create a new project. And that way, when you add the files, you're adding them to that project. So anytime you go into that project to work on this particular type of thing, it will reference these files. And some files that you could add are, depending on what you're working on, right? It could be your brand voice and brand guidelines. So it knows how you speak, the things that matter to you, your values. That doesn't matter as much for what we're going to be doing here, but you could give it the information about your business. How long have you been in business? What are your goals? You could actually outline that into a file so that it always references that first. But that's one thing, first things first. So I'm going to start without adding any files. So we're just going to start from scratch here and we're going to say, hey, okay, so I run an online women's clothing boutique. And right now I am driving about 55 website hits per day. My conversion rate for the last 90 days has been 1.25% with an average order total of, what did I say? $65, which is kind of low these days, but with an average order total of $65 per $65. That's fine. Okay. I am working towards hitting 10,000 in revenue each month. So I know I need an additional 10,600 hits to my site each month. I don't know where to start. Can you ask me 3 to 5 questions to dig deeper into what I'm currently doing and could be doing, and then help me lay out a game plan? Okay. So here are 5 questions that will help me figure out the best strategy for you. Traffic sources. Where are those 55 daily website hits coming from now? Organic social ads, SEO, Google, email referrals, etc. Email SMS list. Do you currently have a customer? Anyway, the point is you are going to want to answer these questions. And what I like to do when I'm doing this sort of thing is, because this is a lot all at once, say, okay, can we tackle these questions one at a time? So they're going to ask one question. And this is really just ChatGPT gathering enough information from you in order to build out a plan that will actually work for you. Okay. And then what's nice about saying, can we tackle these questions one at a time, is now you can actually go back and forth with that with ChatGPT if you have questions or need help even answering the question. And so as you're working through this, don't be afraid to say, like, I don't understand XYZ, or what do you mean by XYZ, or even how can I find this information? And something like this, just again, as specific as you can be. But don't worry, obviously, when you're chatting in here about grammar or like anything like that. And you can even use the dictate to just brain dump. Like, brain dumping is perfect for ChatGPT. Like, don't worry about being polished or it making sense or you having all the answers. That's why you're putting it all in here. So you're going to go through each question, and then it is going to analyze what you've been doing set against what you could be doing. Now, every step of the way, again, make sure that you're asking questions, giving as much information as you can. And then when it originally gives you a plan for driving more traffic, even then, make sure that you follow up with questions, confusion. If it's too much, if it's too overwhelming, which it probably will be because ChatGPT has the tendency to do that, please remember that you're only human. You can only do so much at once, especially when you're learning new things, or just implementing new strategies. So don't be afraid to say, whoa, this is amazing, but can you break it down for me in terms of, maybe just 3 top priorities to focus on for right now instead of all of this? What would be the top 3 most beneficial things to driving traffic that I could do? And then once you have the top 3 priorities, you can also ask it, okay, hey, can you help me break this down into daily activities for the next 2 weeks or the next month, whatever you want to start with? And that way, it'll really start to give you a really easy to use starting point. From there, I mean, the hardest part is, taking action. um, but hopefully, this gives you a solid starting point in terms of setting your goals, understanding how much traffic that you need to drive to your website, and then using ChatGPT to figure out how you can drive that traffic.